Player with generational talent. He was built for greatness, destined for records. The more complicated his career wasn't just damaged, it was defined. Suppose you land one of the biggest deals in baseball history, and steroids destroy everything. Yes, you heard it right. In today's episode, we'll talk about the story of Alex Rodriguez, a player with generational talent, historic contracts, unbelievable numbers, and one of the most controversial legacies the game has ever seen. Because before the headline, before the scandal, before the suspensions, Alex Rodriguez was something else. He was inevitable. He was built for greatness, destined for records. But the deeper you go into his story, the more complicated it becomes. From a prodigy to a superstar to a champion, and then to a name forever tied to controversy. So how did one of the greatest players in baseball history lose control of his own legacy? Let's get into it. The prodigy Alex Rodriguez was born in New York City in 1975. But his story didn't stay there. His family moved first to the Dominican Republic, then to Miami. Different places, different struggles, but one constant: baseball. From a young age, he didn't just play the game, he lived it, obsessed over it. While other kids were learning basics, Rodriguez was already dreaming bigger. He wasn't trying to be good, he wanted to be the best. Hours of practice, endless repetition, swing after swing, until perfection felt normal. By high school, that greatness was impossible to ignore. Scouts didn't just like him. They were convinced power, speed, precision, and a mindset far beyond his age. He became the best high school player in the country. And in 1993, at just 18 years old, he was selected first overall in the MLB draft. Just like that, the journey had begun, the rise. Rodriguez didn't take long. Most players need years. He needed months. By 1994, he was already in the major leagues, still a teenager facing grown men, and learning fast. The early years weren't perfect. There were struggles, inconsistency, moments where he looked human, but then everything changed. That was the year baseball realized what it was dealing with. Rodriguez exploded 36 home runs, batting title, elite defense, and numbers that didn't make sense for a 20-year-old shortstop. He wasn't just good anymore. He was dangerous, and over the next few seasons, he kept getting better, faster, stronger, more confident. By the late 1990s, Alex Rodriguez wasn't just a rising star, he was becoming a generational talent, a player teams feared, a player fans admired, a player destined for history. The money and the pressure. Then came 2001, and everything changed again. Rodriguez signed a contract that shocked the entire sports world. 10 years, $252 million. At the time, the biggest deal in baseball history. It wasn't just money, it was pressure. Because now every performance was under a microscope, every failure magnified, every success expected. And Rodriguez responded. He didn't crumble. He elevated MVP seasons, massive home run totals, numbers that proved he was worth every dollar. But behind the scenes, something else was building. Expectation turned into burden. Greatness turned into obligation. And sometimes that kind of pressure pushes athletes beyond their limits, beyond comfort, beyond control, the pinstripes and the peak. In 2004, Rodriguez was traded to the New York Yankees, the biggest stage in baseball, bright lights, relentless media, and expectations unlike anywhere else. He made a sacrifice, moved from shortstop to third base, to fit the team, to win. And in New York, he reached another level. MVP awards, dominant seasons, moments that reminded everyone this was one of the best players in the world. In 2007, he delivered a historic season, 54 home runs, pure dominance. At that moment, it felt certain, Hall of Fame all-time greatness, a legacy that could never be questioned. But then everything shifted. The confession. The year everything cracked, reports surfaced. Alex Rodriguez had tested positive for steroids in 2003. The headlines exploded, the narrative flipped overnight, and then he admitted it. He had used performance-enhancing drugs during his time in Texas. Just like that, everything changed. The numbers felt different. The records felt questionable. The greatness felt complicated. Because in sports, there's one thing fans never forget and rarely forgive: cheating. And once that label is attached, it never fully disappears. It lingers, redemption and collapse. But this is where the story gets complicated. Because in that same year, 2009, Rodriguez delivered when it mattered most. The playoffs, pressure moments, game-changing hits. He carried the Yankees when it counted and helped them win the World Series. For a moment, it felt like redemption, like maybe the story could be rewritten, like maybe greatness could outshine controversy, but it didn't last. Because years later, another scandal hit the biogenesis investigation. More allegations, more scrutiny. And this time, the consequences were severe. A full season suspension in 2014. One of the harshest punishments in baseball history. And just like that, his career wasn't just damaged, it was defined by controversy. The final years. Rodriguez returned in 2015, and surprisingly, he still had flashes, home runs, moments of brilliance, reminders of what he once was. But something had changed. The dominance was gone, the fear factor had faded, and the perception was different forever. By 2016, it was over. He played his final game. No fairy tale ending, no perfect goodbye, just silence. And the weight of everything that came before, the legacy. So what is Alex Rodriguez? That's the real question, because statistically, he's one of the greatest players ever. 696 home runs, over 3,000 hits, numbers that should guarantee immortality. But legacy isn't just numbers, it's perception. And his story is split in two, greatness and controversy. A once-in-a-generation talent whose choices changed everything forever. So when you hear the name Alex Rodriguez, what do you think of? The superstar who dominated baseball for years? Or the player whose legacy was altered forever? Because both are true. And that's what makes his story so powerful. A career that had everything: fame, money, success. But in the end, it's remembered differently. And if you want more stories where baseball, fame, and controversy collide, stay right here. Because sometimes the biggest deals come with the biggest consequences.